Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Hybrid Fitness Report. My name is Paul Reynolds.
My name is Jude Reynolds.
Operating on 3 hours of sleep and a 3-hour workout. So, you know.
Can you tell?
Not at all. No, your eyes look great, that red. It's perfectly natural.
Thanks.
And so Jude's going to try and stay conscious for this podcast recording, which will be mainly focused on, or the main feature will be on the Metrix event that happened at the weekend. Relatively new hybrid fitness sport that Jude took part in. But before we dive into our main feature, we've got a few other things lined up. First of all, looking at some news that came out this week. So Hyrox have released the remainder of their UK events program. We therefore have 6 events this season. We've got Birmingham on the 22nd to the 26th next month, for which, perhaps surprisingly, there's still quite a lot of tickets available between Wednesday and Sunday. 4th to the 7th of December, we have the Hyrox event at the Excel Arena in London. 21st to the 25th of January in Manchester. And then the 3 that came out this week that they have not started selling tickets for yet. Glasgow, 11th to the 15th of March. The first 9-day Hyrox event, which will be the 21st to the 29th of March at the London Olympia, which is kind of crazy. I think they might as well buy the place, never mind renting it out for 9 days. And then the last UK event of the year will be, of the season rather, will be the 29th of April to the 4th of May in Cardiff. They haven't been to Cardiff yet, have they? Is that a first one
they
for
went,
us?
they went to Cardiff last year.
Oh yeah, so they were. Yeah, it was another late season one last season, wasn't it? So that's, in terms of lining up your calendars and saving your money, that's what's coming up for the UK. We've had a couple of Hyrox events this weekend, Jude, in Oslo and Rome. What were the particular standout events or performances from those?
So in my age group, we had quite a few really competitive times. My doubles partner, Michael, who got an hour high. And then we've got a guy that beat him called Theo Leon, French guy who came under the hour mark in the 16 to 24 pro solo. And then in Oslo, I believe, we have a newcomer to the scene. I think it was his first pro race again in my age group, Gustav Cordua, Danish guy coming in at 58 high, which I believe in the past 2 years, he's only the third person to break 59. So really impressive and scary stuff coming from him. So I look forward to seeing how he progresses.
So a completely insane time, but he's not some noob, is he? He's got track record.
No.
What's his background?
Yeah, he has very successful in the OCR space. I'm not sure exactly how successful because he's a champion of some kind, 2-time champion of some kind, but I don't know if that's age group, what type of OCR or anything like that. But he's been racing for a while. But it's just Hyrox hasn't been his primary focus. So now that it probably will be by the looks of how he's posting, he's doing Hamburg next week or this coming week, which is a major for the elites. So he'll do that in the age group and we'll see how he does. But yeah, shout out to him. He did really, really well. That's it from my age group on that side of things. Nothing happened in the elite field too crazy, apart from in America, in Boston.
Can I just say nothing too crazy time-wise, but poor Graham Halliday's had a second consecutive nightmare where his problem was going into the lunges. He went to the pro weight pile for sandbags, picked up a sandbag, got about 100 meters, was it 80 meters in or something, and then realised or was told that it was the open weight, i.e. the lighter weight sandbag.
Yeah.
Had a chat with the judges, and so he could have carried on and basically been disqualified because he picked up the wrong weight. In the end, he went back, picked up the pro weight, carried on with the rest of the race, came in with something about 5-6 minutes slower. So he did a 1:02 something. So that's the second consecutive race where he's, and in this case, kind of almost completely out of his control. Had a bit of a nightmare. So I assume he'll be at Hamburg as well. I'm hoping to put that dodgy start to bed.
Yeah. He's definitely racing solos on the Friday. I don't know if he's racing again with his double partner, John Wynn, the day after.
Right.
But yeah, he'll definitely be in Hamburg.
Okay, so that was Oslo and Rome. There was also an event over in Boston, and there was a standout performance there, wasn't there, Jude?
Yeah, one of the elite athletes, Cole Learn, he's Canadian, came in with a 2-minute, I think, PB coming in at 55:30, which blew everyone out the water. I mean, there were some big names in that event like Colin Stiefer, I think Marcus Wallace was there, some previous or current Elite 15 athletes, and he just completely annihilated them coming in at 55 mid. So some serious times getting put down this weekend from people that weren't big names to start with, so it'll be really, really cool how they mix up this elite field and age group, top end of age group field this season.
So Cole does he have much background in Hyrox, and it's just a massive leap in fitness over the summer? Or where's he come from?
He had a 57 last year, which was a 4-minute PB. So he seemed to have gotten within like 4 races 6 minutes off of his time,
and how old is he?
Taking him down to I think he's high 20s.
High 20s, right. I mean, I think that's going to be a trend, or a continuing trend for another couple of years, at least with the Hyrox, as the popularity goes through the roof. You have more and more people who are kind of international class athletes going, actually, I want to give that a go. So guys like the one who dominated in your age group in Oslo, we're probably going to see more of that, not just from the obstacle course racing world, but from all kinds of other things. So it's exciting for the sport, and certainly interesting for you.
Yeah, and the reason that works is just because of how low skill it is. If you have a really high level of fitness, you can transfer the Hyrox stations quite easily because, like I said, it doesn't take years to master like some of the lifts and movements in CrossFit does. So that's why it's super accessible, and that type of transferability is quite similar or easy.
Yeah. Okay, so take us into week in workouts, Jude. What have you been up to?
So this week, although I had a competition yesterday, I didn't taper or change anything in my training for it, just because I'm really trying to focus on Deca Worlds and Vancouver in December.
Vancouver Hyrox.
So Vancouver Hyrox, pro solo. So everything I'm sort of doing is leading towards that, and these events are more for race experience and for a certain stimulus, like some VO2 max work, for example, Metrix, which we'll get into in a bit. But yeah, so training is the same as normal. I had 3 or so threshold sessions, which were split up between pure running, pure ergs, and a mix of both. So what I've been doing recently, which is slightly different, is before I've only done pure threshold sessions. So by that I mean my entire threshold session will be running, and then in the evening it'll be purely on the ergs, whereas I've been mixing them up. And for example, this week I did a 4-minute run straight into 2-minute rows, straight into 4-minute run. And that was just sort of being able to run onto and out of stations. So just getting used to that feeling. So yeah, the running intervals are a little bit shorter, but the overall threshold work is a little bit longer. So I think that was one of my weaknesses that I have is one of my weaknesses is running into and out of stations and being able to keep my heart rate steady. So that's why I wanted to sort of incorporate a bit of that into my training. So to keep the threshold work there, but also to train and sort of get better at my weaknesses.
Just
other than that,
hold there for a second. So when you say your weakness is managing your heart rate into and out of stations, tell us a bit more about what you mean by that. Does that mean you're running too fast in the rock zone or too slowly, or what are you saying?
I wish it was too quickly. No, it's not that. It's basically when you change, when your movements drastically change, there's something called the vascular shunt mechanism, which is where your body sends blood to different areas that need to the muscles that need to be contracting. For example, if I run, that's mainly lower body. So at that point in the race, a lot of your blood is being focused to your legs, to your core, but mainly in your lower body. When you then start skiing at a very high intensity, the blood's like, oh crap, his lats and his triceps and his shoulders are already working at a really high intensity. So the blood needs to go from your legs, which are now almost completely static, up to your upper body. And with that sort of change in blood flow, that's going to spike the heart rate. And so you want to get used to being able to transfer that blood or deal with that vascular shunt mechanism with as little strain or stress on your body as possible. Just get it used to that and make it do it more so it gets used to it, essentially.
So it's not that you're trying to do something differently, it's just to do those transitions so much more often in training so that your body's like, oh, we're doing this again. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, the only thing left is the WoW. But before that, if you want to take us through yours, is that been much different or not really?
My week in workouts is progressing in the same way. So I've now got a kind of a 6-day 6 days a week working out. So Saturdays is a wonderful day because not only do I not work out, I actually get to carb load a bit for the long run on Sunday. I think if I had 2 days a week, I'd get that feeling that you get when you don't work out for about 5 consecutive minutes, which is, oh no, I'm now really fat and I can't run at all anymore. So I think when I take 2 days off a week, I start to get a little bit of that. But with 1 day a week off, I'm like, hey, this is great. I could just sit down and not feel guilty.
How long are your long runs?
Well, longs in inverted commas. I mean, I don't, a proper long run, back in the day is like 18 miles. But I'm building up towards where I think I'll kind of top out at 2 hours rather than I'm doing time rather than distance.
You don't need more than that.
No, and I'm training for a half marathon as well as for Hyrox. So this weekend, long in inverted commas, was just 70 minutes. But as I say, I'm just going up 10%. Same with weights. Every week, I'm making sure that I don't go up any further than 10%, either in individual weight lifted or with total aggregate weight lifted. So for any given exercise, I kind of write everything down to make sure that I'm within that 10%. I'm doing the same for the long runs. I just add 10% of minutes each time. And when I get to halfway, I just run. And when I get to the half of the minutes, I just turn around and come back again. So that's how that's working. As I've mentioned last week, I'm kind of like quite excited about getting into proper upper body work and some barbell work. Unfortunately, last week's WOW, the only place I could really fit it in was at the end of my leg day. So my leg day this week just gone consisted of back squats, Romanian deadlifts, elevated goblet squats, walking lunges, and a backwards sled drag, after which I did your prescribed 5 minutes wall balls, as many reps as possible.
Do you want to
go on? Yeah, go on.
Do you want to inform us as to
no, I don't.
How you completely screwed up the workout?
I'd rather not inform anybody. I'd rather we kept that between ourselves, to be honest. But
okay, well, for anyone that forgot or didn't tune in, the workout was 3 kilograms above race weight, 5 minutes of as many wall balls as you can. 3 kilograms above being sort of the key component to that one.
I think the 5 minutes is the key component.
So what weight did you do? What weight did you think that race weight was?
Well, I'm busy trying to convert kilometers to miles and pounds to kilos, and the whole thing's a little bit much for my Winnie the Pooh brain.
Small brain.
Yeah, and therefore I did the open weight and was relatively pleased with myself because I did 65 wall balls in 5 minutes at the end of a leg day and thought, that's actually not bad, and did not, until I spoke to you 2 or 3 days later, realised that I'd completely missed the weight on that one. But, it was a big leg day.
As far as the thousands of our podcast listeners are aware, you have a knack for doing these really important and, timely, these important workouts at the end of something really stupid.
Really stupid? I don't know what... My leg day was stupid?
No, the timing, of your important workouts or the wows are stupid.
Okay, when should I have done my wow? When should I have done my stupid amount of incorrectly weighted wall balls?
After an easy run or after an easy erg. I mean, granted, my timing of it wasn't optimal, but it was better than having just done a leg day when your body isn't adapted to that type of volume.
No, my body definitely wasn't adapted at all. I had a coach at the gym who was busy trying to eat his dinner at the time. He came over and was trying to help me squeeze out last few reps
Chinese.
In that last minute. Yeah, it was...
The food, not the coach.
Yes. Yes, there was a Canadian coach who had some Chinese food waiting for him, which was beginning to make the gym smell fantastic, or Chinese food mixed with BO, which is an odd but strangely compelling odour. So that was the horror that was last week's. So allegedly, you did the correct weight of wall ball for your Pro plus 3, which leaves you at what? What weight were you throwing in the air?
12.
12 kilos. And you did how many in 5 minutes?
Well, okay, if you used an excuse, I'm going to use one. The wall balls that we have at my gym, by the way, the gym that I work out at, not that I work at, are not wall balls. They're dead balls or med balls, so they have 0 bounce.
Right.
So how I throw them, I have to get within, tongue length of the wall, essentially.
Why would you use your tongue as a measure? When
how long is my tongue?
What?
How long is my tongue?
Use
Not very long, right?
but use a finger.
That's why.
Tongue length. The heck?
No, because then you could hold out your... No. A tongue length from the wall, all right? And I did it 10 feet in the air, okay, with the correct weight.
Tongue length. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And I got 132. I don't really know what
132?
a good... Yeah, I don't know what a good sort of rep would be this, because there's a workout in CrossFit called Karen, which is 150 wall balls for time. I'm not sure if that's with a 9 or with a 12. I don't think if I knew that, I would have gone under... I would have hit the 150. I think.
Isn't the Karen workout the one where you do 50 wall balls and then the wall ball complains that you're standing in the wrong place and tells you to move? Isn't that a Karen workout?
Don't think so.
That was a joke. Never mind.
Oh, yikes, I didn't get that one. If you got that, please comment that. I did not understand that at all. Karen White. Yes.
Yeah. Don't define it. Yeah. Everyone knows. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, got it.
So anyway, so you may or may not have done almost a CrossFit workout, and you may or may not have crushed it. Is the gist of all that?
Yeah, that was after the row, run, row threshold workout. So again, my timing could have been optimal, but you don't want to time it optimally because then it's not race sort of mirroring, for lack of better phrasing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that went well. I did. My tactic was do 25 and then take a very strict 10-second rest and repeat that. And then so the last set I did a set of 38 to finish or something. So 25, 10 seconds, 25, 10 seconds.
My longest streak was 15. I think that's my longest streak ever.
With the wrong weight.
With the wrong weight, yeah. But, you know.
If you had done an awful streak with the correct weight, that would have been far more respectable.
Okay, thank you.
Just saying.
So anyway, what's this week's workout of the week that I can do after a heavy leg day or after a long run or at 3 a.m. or something? What are we doing?
This week's wow, to make sure people like you can't really mess it up. It's a 500-meter ski for time. So on the ski erg, 500 meters as quickly as you can. Now, although it is a sprint, there is a bit of pacing to it because our energy system doesn't work in which we can go at complete 100% maximal effort for around 2 minutes. Our sort of the energy system that we want for that lasts about 10 seconds. So there is a bit of pacing involved for this one. In terms of times to be looking at, in my opinion, I would say a beginner time. If you can complete a Hyrox already, by the way, this isn't like a off-the-street beginner time. This is you have already completed a Hyrox or in shape to complete a Hyrox. I would say a beginner time would be around that 2 minutes and 10 mark. I would say a more intermediate time would be under that 2 minute mark. An advanced time would be around 145 to 150. A very good time would be around that sort of sub 140 mark, and then more of an elite time would be anywhere from 125, I'd say, to 130.
Right, and you'd be aiming for what?
Mid 120s, I hope. So we'll see how that goes because I've got that programmed myself this week, so we'll see.
So with me as a completed one Hyrox as a bit of a trundling oaf type status, what's my target?
For you, I'd look to try and get around or as close to the 145 as you can.
145?
To 150.
I was hoping to slot in at the beginner.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. No,
Heavens
that's
above.
I would say for right. I'd say 150 to 155.
That's the wrong number to start with. You said beginners.
I'd say go for 155.
Beginners 210. You said I'm a beginner, aren't I?
You are, but you're better at the ergs than most beginners, I'd say.
Okay, so sub 2. Let's call it sub 2. Let's not call it 155.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's the wow, which then takes us on to our main feature for the week, which is to talk about Metrix, which is another UK-based kind of startup hybrid fitness event. First of all, before you tell us about how it went at the weekend when you did your Metrix debut, what is Metrix?
Not debut, third time.
Before you tell us about your...
Not even close.
Really not even close. This is take 2. This isn't segueing.
Okay.
So before you tell us about how you got on at the weekend, what exactly is Metrix?
So Metrix is a erg-based event, meaning it is primarily based on the row ski and the bike. So the structure is as follows. You have in doubles is the main focus. I'm not sure they do solos anymore. So in pairs, in you go, I go format, meaning you work while your partner rests and vice versa. You have 10 minutes on the ski erg to go as far as you can. You then have a 4-minute rest/transition time, going into 10 minutes of burpees, lateral burpees over a line, of which there is an iPad with a sort of body screening motion sensor to detect if you've fully extended and fully stood up properly. So those are strict, which is good. 10 minutes maximum reps of burpee over the line between you. 4 minutes rest and transition into 10 minutes max distance on the row erg. 4 minutes rest/transition time at 10 minutes max distance on the bike erg, 4 minutes rest transition time into 5 minutes of very light but still tough sled shuttle sprints of 20 meters up, 20 meters back, immediately followed by 5 minutes of shuttle sprints without the sled, 20 meters up, 20 meters back, and that's as many lengths as you can get within the 10 minutes total of 5 sleds plus 5 shuttle sprints.
And they started this, early last year? Has it been going about a year and a half?
Yeah, I think their first one was March last year at the same venue that I just went to, Magazine in London.
Right, and this is your third?
Yeah, I did one solo, which I believe was the first Metrix event when they had solo tickets. Then I did a doubles a month ago, and then I did a doubles yesterday.
Right. Tell us a bit more about the atmosphere at Metrix events, because it's kind of like, it sounds a little bit like Hyrox on speed.
Yeah, basically it is. Like if you took acid and then walked into a Hyrox, you'd probably think you were in a Metrix. The lighting, the strobe lighting is crazy. So there's flashing lights everywhere, multicolored lights. The music's really loud, very techno, EDM-esque type music. And it is just with a lot of people who go there seem to be the ones that really enjoy that type of stuff, which makes sense and is a completely redundant statement.
So they turn up to a club event and there's some exercises chucked in.
Yeah. See, you edit this, so I don't know how much of this you leave in. So
if it's you making the mistakes, I'm leaving it all in. When it's me, I cut it all out.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So very one of the best ways I can describe it is very clubby. So when I went to clubs at uni, it's exactly the type of atmosphere, except substitute alcohol for fitness racing, how that felt. So I love the vibe. It's not like it's super aggressive music. It's very uplifting or uplifting, like just upbeat, up-tempo music, very loud, and just very lighting heavy.
Right. And in terms of the kind of body type or the kind of athlete, what kind of person does well at Metrix compared to the kind of person that would do well at, say, a Deca or a Deadly Dozen or a Hyrox?
A lot bigger athletes. So in Metrix, you have essentially only 2.5 minutes of running in the end in the form of shuttle sprint. So there's a 5-minute section at the very end, like I went through, that is just shuttle sprints, and you split that with your partner, like I said. So that's 2.5 minutes of running in total, meaning the body type is a lot bigger. On ergs, ski erg, row erg, bike erg, the more body weight you can get behind each stroke or each pedal, the more of an advantage you have. And so that's why at this sport, Metrix, I think if you have a really good engine and are very muscly and heavy, that works in your favor as opposed to a sport that is dominated by running like most of the other fitness events.
So there were a lot of CrossFitters, weren't there?
Yeah, quite a few people that you look at and go, wow, you look impressive, instead of, wow, you don't look
fit.
Like you look fit. Some people in Hyrox, you could tell me they never stepped into a gym a day in their life, and I believe you, and yet they will smoke everyone in the venue. So in Metrix, it's a lot easier to tell who's going to be good most of the time.
Right. Especially because the shirt off ratio is similarly high to a Hyrox, is it?
There we go. Definitely. Yeah, I think because everyone knows that they look how they do. I mean, I think compared to Hyrox, I mean, they had some of the most impressive, particularly looking women that I've seen. So the women there were quite muscly because, obviously, like I said, it's an advantage to have a bit of a heavier frame behind you. So, I mean, some of the women there were pulling. I saw some sub 140s on the skier get that 200-meter sprint test they had outside the entrance, which was just seriously impressive because women on ergs typically aren't as strong as men. So to see numbers like that, it's just, very, very impressive.
And how did you get on? Out of 183 competing men's doubles, how did you get on?
A crippling second. So me and Tony were misplaced into the 5 p.m. wave. We were meant to be earlier, but we were in the 5 p.m. wave, finished, and had fought the whole time to push into that first position. Got the first position, was like, no way, and we were so happy, this and that. And then only to be beaten by the final, I believe, wave of the entire day by two absolute monsters, to be fair to them.
CrossFit monsters, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a painful second.
Yeah. So
it was like one of my... Yeah, like if we had known beforehand, if they were like the first wave and we had known that they were there, it wouldn't have been nearly as hard to take the second place. But because we had thought we'd won for the majority of, for about 3 hours, it was, really tough to take. But fair play to them. They were better than us on the day, so can't really complain about much there.
But no flags, no podium, no nothing, huh?
No. There's speculation about the prize money. I don't know if it was given out. I don't really want to know if it was given out, because if the winners did in fact win $5,000, that makes the loss even harder. So I kind of don't want to look into if they've given out the prize money or not.
Okay, because they did last year, didn't they?
They did at their first one, yeah. Well, they advertised they did. If they did or didn't, I don't know. But
so just the first one. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to say about Metrix or your devastating failure of coming second out of 183?
I think me and Tony worked really well together. I think we discussed a decent amount of tactics beforehand, and I think every single thing went really well. Our changeover time, our changeover timing, I think everything just played itself really, really well. I think the only thing I would have changed would have been a bit shorter intervals on the bike. So on the bike, it's super easy and quick to change over on, and we were doing 30 on, 30 off. I think I would have preferred 20 to 25, because those last 10 seconds were a real grind, and our splits started to climb up. I started shouting in his ear, change to 20, 25, 20, 25 seconds, and I don't think he heard a word of it. He didn't even look my way, so he was so in the zone that he didn't hear me. But I noticed our splits were drifting up, so I screamed at him. But I've never seen someone so locked in my life. So I was like, all right.
So are you saying he was even more locked in than I was during the relay wall balls when you were screaming at me? Even more locked in than that? Flipping heck.
Yeah, I mean, I was in his ear. Yeah, tongue length away from it, screaming. Sorry, Tony. But no, he did. We did really well, and we played to each other's strengths, and we remembered all of our changeovers and everything, and did surprisingly probably the best overall on the burpees, which is always my weakest thing in any event ever.
Not for him, but it's definitely odd for you.
For me, yeah, not for him. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Metrix. Next on to a new segment that I threatened a couple of weeks ago, which is we're going to have a series called the League of Hybrid Fitness Sports, where after you're taking us through the 10 different aspects of fitness, we said we'd start working through various different sports and we give them each a score in each of those 10 categories in terms of how hybrid fitnessy they are, giving an overall score, and then we'll find out the definitive argument over no questions or debate anymore, which is most hybrid fitnessy. So I thought the best one to start with would be cricket, because what could possibly be more hybrid fitnessy than cricket? And if nothing else, it will give us an interesting baseline to build from. So we'll try different sports as we go along.
It'll definitely give us a base. Yeah,
it will. So as I bring up these categories, if you could just give us a one-sentence reminder of what that actually means. Some of these categories seem fairly obvious, but some of them seem to overlap each other a bit. First category, thinking about cricket, is cardiovascular endurance. What exactly does that mean?
I'd say the body's ability to sustain a continual movement for a long period of time.
Okay, so all these scores are coming out of 100, and I'm giving cricket a 5 on that one because you spend most of your time not moving.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll even be more generous and give it a 7.
You'd give it a 7, okay. I'll take that because I'm definitely stumping, so to speak. Oh, I like that. I I'm stumping for cricket on this one. Okay, so category 2, muscular endurance. What is muscular endurance, Jude?
That's similar, but more on the strength side of things. So it would be more sustaining continual muscular contractions with typically a heavier load than cardiovascular endurance would be testing.
So I gave this the same score of 5, even though you could argue there's a little bit more when you're batting. Assuming you're actually hitting the ball, there's more when you're batting. But I also gave this a 5 out of 100. Do you argue with that?
I'll give it a 10 because I'm also looking at stuff like darts. So
give it a 10. Okay, well, yeah, definitely deserves a high score in darts. Okay, so strength. Now, this sounds like an obvious definition, but when you look down the list, the next one is power. So the next 2 are strength and power. How are they different?
Strength is to do with the force you can produce, whereas power is force and the speed at which you can produce it.
Okay, so we'll
slight differences.
Take these together then. For strength and power, I gave cricket a 20 and a 50. Again, thinking primarily of batting. Do those seem reasonable?
I'd give it, I'd go with, I'd agree with them.
Okay, 20 and 50 for power and strength and power. Agility. Now, in my assessment of cricket, I'm talking about an all-rounder here. So back in the days of my extreme youth, I would open the batting and be like first change bowler. So that kind of an all-rounder. Agility, you need a load of it for bowling and a reasonable amount for fielding, depending on where you are as a fielder. But for bowling, requires a great amount of agility. So I gave that an 80.
See, if the sport was batting and wicket keeping and bowling, and it didn't incorporate any fielders, then I would give it an 80. But because those are only 3 positions in which require a high level of it, I'm going to give it a 60.
Okay, I can live with that.
70. I'll give it a 70. Because that is a high level of agility needed. I agree.
Speed, I gave a 75 because almost everything you do, granted you're not moving most of the time, but when you do move, if it's not quick, it's basically useless.
Yeah, I mean, speed doesn't have to be sprinting. Like the circumduction motion that you do with your arm as a bowler or the massive swings you do as a batter, they have to be quick. So I think, and everyone bats on the team. So I'd be, you gave it a what, sorry?
75.
Yeah, 70.
Okay. Flexibility, 85. Again, thinking to some extent of batting because you have to be able to stretch a lot and quickly. But again, as a bowler, you'd better be incredibly flexible. Otherwise, you're getting no speed in your circum-whatsits that you mentioned when you're bowling. The amount of torque that your back and your hips and your shoulders and go through, I kind of figure that requires a lot. Well, put it this way. Since I got to be severely inflexible, I can't bowl at all. When I was a kid, I could bowl reasonably well when I was flexible. That's part of my thinking there. But I'm giving that, I've got that down as an 85. I'm talking about an all-rounder. So someone who bats and bowls.
75.
75, okay. Can do that. Balance. Now, batting and bowling, and to a lesser degree fielding, again, I've got to think that's pretty darned high. Again, moving at speed and jumping, twisting and landing on a precise spot. I gave that a 95.
95. Give it an 80.
I might have to sneak that up to 83 under later revisions. Coordination, I've given 80.
I'm giving 95.
And the reason I gave that an 80 is because
I'm confused.
Under accuracy and reaction time, I gave 100 because of batting.
I'm gonna give it 100 for both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why? Okay, I guess this is another one like black power and strength. Is what's the difference in coordination and accuracy / reaction time? Isn't that all part of the same thing? Is it not? Well,
not
it clearly
really.
isn't because they're separate categories. But how are they different?
Well, coordination. Well, reaction time is the biggest standout, which is your ability, the speed at which your brain can tell your muscles to contract. And so, for example, if you have a great reaction time but terrible coordination, you'd be able to move your hands toward a ball but not be able to catch it. Whereas the coordination is what would play the part in actually enclosing your hands around the ball and bringing it into yourself.
Okay. So, with a maximum score of 1,000, guess what we've got cricket at? In the League of Hybrid Fitness Sports.
680.
Cricket has a score of 572 out of 1,000.
Okay.
So it is a lot more hybrid fitness sporty than people thought it was before they listened to our expert analysis.
And objective analysis.
Extremely well. You don't like cricket at all. I think cricket's fantastic. Or I did when I played it.
I think it's awful and boring.
Hey!
The worst version of baseball.
Oh my gosh! Stop. Just lost 13,000 loyal listeners with that one statement. I don't believe you just did that. 572.
It's fine.
We can afford to drop
572.
We can afford to, on a UK-orientated podcast, to drop all those cricket lovers in favour of that one baseball guy who's listening. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good work, Jude. 572 is the final cricket score, which takes us on to our final element, which is Quote of the Week, where, as is usually the case, I will read a quote, Jude will wince and tell me how I'm trolling. Is that roughly how it goes?
I don't use that word, and I cringe.
At the use of the word trolling?
Yeah.
Okay. What, trolling?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one.
So, again, thinking about the most hybrid fitnessy person in the world, I thought Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sprang immediately and naturally to mind.
Yep.
There's that face. Okay, so what he said was, if something stands between you and your success, move it. Never be denied.
See, it was bad, and then you used the voice, and it was awful. So, there's my reaction.
If something stands between you and your success, move it. Never be denied. How's that as a motto for life, Jude?
I find it really hard to take these quotes seriously.
Well, I don't think you should be dissing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that way. I think it's a tremendous quote.
I guess if I had to really take it seriously, sure, that's kind of what I try and do. Is if, I don't think I'll be able to be fit enough to be in the Elite 15 when those thoughts enter my head, I train harder and do whatever I can to just overcome those doubts, which is what I get from it.
Something stands between you and your success, move it, never be denied. Well, you've applied that to, if I'm not working hard enough, move that. And don't be denied by your own inability to work. Whereas I'm thinking more along the lines of, if not using steroids stands between you and success, move it, never be denied. That seems to be a little bit more like a, let's take some steroids rather than a let's work a bit harder. Not that. Not that Dwayne Johnson's ever taken steroids.
No,
at all.
Never.
No. So we're saying that quote is rubbish unless it means work a bit harder next time. Maybe work a bit harder next time should be the motto, and we can just finish doing Quote of the Week and just say work harder. I don't want to kill a segment like that.
Positive. Yeah.
Okay, so that does in fact pretty much wrap it up for this week. Next week we're going to have an introduction to ATHX. Please do like and subscribe on the podcast channel that you're getting this on, and let us know how you get on with the workout of the week especially. So thank you very much for listening. I've been Paul Reynolds.
I've been Jude Reynolds.
Speak to you next time.
See ya.